My name is Susan Reed, and this is my husband, George. And we're going to switch a little bit back and forth, but we are talking about welcoming all and living faithfully. We love this church and hope we can communicate why giving to its ministries and mission is important to us. I grew up knowing the smell of fresh carnations on a Sunday morning, as my dad ushered often. And our family of 7, 5 kids, I was the oldest, rarely missed church. Getting out the door was not always easy.
I'm the youngest of 4 sons of Gail and Glenn Reed, missionaries and missions administrator for over 40 years in Africa, the Middle East, the Indian subcontinent, and the U.S. Mom and Dad and other missionaries drew a salary supplied by the denomination, but families were really dependent upon raising their own support to make ends meet. I recall that when we would come home from Africa every 2 or 4 years, ostensibly for vacation, we would in actuality spend the majority of our time visiting congregations and seeking out new sources of support. Those were wonderful folks whose gifts allowed us to answer God's calling to serve His cause out in the world. Once Mom and Dad retired from the mission field, when Dad was in his late 70s, he served as the visitation pastor for 10 years at First Presbyterian Church, Bethlehem. On the staff was Keith Brown, who encouraged me to join the adult singles group. I did so, and that's where I met the love of my life. Sue and I were married in 1986.
It was at that time we decided to prioritize giving to our church and other ministries we support. We were actively involved in ministry, high school small group, hospital ministrant, Stephen ministry, women's Bible study, and contemporary worship. However, in 2016-17, we decided to leave the church when the church went through a division over same-sex marriage, property rights, and ordination. It was a very painful and ugly time, during which we felt there was very little grace being displayed. And we were thinking, what would God want us to do? Our longtime friends and neighbors in Zionsville, the Parkers, had said many times over the years, why don't you come to Allentown? It's so much closer. So we did. And we found a friendly, caring church and a fantastic contemporary service. We felt welcomed by many as we enjoyed Middle Eastern feasts, spaghetti dinners, soup and chili cook-offs, and filled backpacks together. We love to eat. We found wonderful friends as I went through Stephen ministry training again, and also joined a women's Lenten study, and George played bass occasionally in the worship band. We have felt the love of many in this church, including our neighborhood coordinators and the ministers after the deaths of my father in 2018, and more recently, the loss of George's brother, Bill. We encourage you to give to this wonderful church. Thank you. Thank you for being our friends.